Well, hello. I don't know what happened there. That was weird. How strange was that? I have no idea what went on there. It was just a blank screen. But never mind. We're here now. So, hello. And who we got in chat at the moment is Lewis and Scott. Lewis is back off on the road in a minute. He's on his 45-minute tackle break, bless him. And then he's off trucking again. And Scott's in at the moment. So, hello, Scott. And I think at the moment, that's it. In the old live chat at the minute, but never mind. And we got some of this three. Oh, it must be me. So yeah. So anyway, let's get on with it. This is something I did quite a long time ago. It's not about the car. It's about the diorama. And it's a similar idea to what we want to achieve. BOCAGE. Let's put that to one side. Nice and safe. We'll stick it on Tommy's chair and hope he doesn't come in and sit on it. We'll put that away in a bit. So, what is or was BOCAGE? Well, BOCAGE is the field and fence system in northern France, and there are still some left. Not a lot, but there are still some left that you can actually go and see. It stems back to medieval times in France, where if you had land and you died, your land went to your sons. Now, if you had two sons, the land was halved. So what they'd do is they would divide the field in half. And then next generation comes along, the same thing happens. You die, your plot of land gets halved again between your two sons, or how many sons you've got. So the field system got shorter and shorter with hedgerows in between. But they weren't just hedgerows. They were actually a walkway, a sunken path with a ditch on either side, and then an embankment of 5 or 6 feet, soil embankment, and then a hedge and trees on top of that. So some of them, hedges plus the bankings, were about 15 feet tall, which caused a major problem, especially for the Americans when they moved off the beaches and into Normandy. So we're going to try and recreate BOCAGE. That's the plan for this diorama. So you've got to sort of plan how you're going to approach it and what you're going to do. And these are the ones I'm going to use. The ones I've just finished is a quad gun tractor with a Lindau and a 25-pounder. Now, all in all, that is a long model. It's actually 12, actually 13 inches long. Plus I want to incorporate that. There's not many photo frames you can get unless you're going to pay, you know, a large amount of money for a photo frame that you're going to be able to fit everything in. Now you can, you just got to plan your build the same as you would do with your instructions for the kit. You plan your build. I can paint this bit for, I can do this in sub assemblies, I can paint this, I can build this, you know. It's a similar thing when you're building a diorama. You just got to think ahead. It's like playing chess. You've got to be 2 or 3 moves ahead of where you want to be. So let's make a start. Let's make a start. So materials I'm going to use is obviously my foam board. And there goes the white balance again. Let's I'll waste that in there. Pop that off a minute. A photo frame and my usual filler, some trees, some cocoa fibre hanging basket. Some of that will be incorporated, but not this week, that'll be next week. And general liking clocks, stones, gravel, grit, that sort of thing. So what we want to do is we want to try and position. I've got an idea in my mind of what I want it to look like when it's finished. Yes, Scott, there will be trees. There will be trees. In fact, there'll be 3 or 4 trees incorporated into it with a canopy. So you're not, it's going to be quite dark because it's going to be up here. Basically, the trees are going to be a good 10, 12 inches off the diorama, the tops of the trees, with the cover. Because what happens is, in between the bocage, you've got the path. It's mainly an animal track for farmers to get livestock through, but some of them are quite wide. Some of them are actually, you get vehicles down. So the trees overgrew as well, so they're like tunnels, natural tunnels, a lot of them as well. So I'm going to try and recreate that sort of look. So, but the model won't be viewed from above. It's going to be viewed on a shelf from the side. So you should still. I'm going to try and leave one section open, like the viewing section. Hello, Dad. Dad's just nipped in. Afternoon. Afternoon, Dad. Nice to see you. Well, nice to see you, Jack. Right, so let's work out the width and the positioning of how we're actually going to get things to fit in here. So it's going to have to go basically corner to corner. And then I wanted to do it like there's a T-junction in between, like the path between the bocage and another intersection. So I was thinking something like, oh, stand up. You don't understand, but we'll in there. So something like that. Okay, so this is going to be banked up. This and this is going to be slightly banked up. The main area we're going to be working on with our bocage thing is just this corner here and this little section here. So if we get a pen or a pencil or something, and I'm as organised as ever, I had a pen, and then just mark off roughly where we want things to be. Not there, round to there, and then round to there. So we can get these off now and put them to the side. So that's roughly where we're going to start adding things to. So before we add things to, oh, Dad's on a phone call, must be Eileen for the care home, so hopefully good news. So let's take this off to start with, back in. Pop it off. Put that to one side for a minute. We're going to concentrate on this. The easiest way to keep this clean, because this is going to be quite a messy technique, in 1 or 2 places it's going to be quite messy. The easiest way I found of doing it is just get some ordinary boring plain masking tape. Don't mess there. And we'll literally mask it off. Doesn't have to be posh to me or waxed tape. Just ordinary bog standard decorators masking tape will do the job. And all it's going to do, no matter what we slap down there now, we slap it on with, we'll just keep this frame nicely clean. at the end of the day, it's only paper. It's quite easy to. You never get. It's going to be paper. It's permanently going to be stuck on these edges, but you can trim it very close to. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Also, it's going to get hit in a minute with the hot glue gun. Because I may even use a tiny bit of resin and do a very small water effect on it. Because where you had the banking and the hedgerow, you also had a drainage ditch down each side of it. So there's nothing to stop us if we want to mess about with a little bit of resin. And D-Day, which is probably D-Day plus 3 or 4 days, probably. It's that sort of time period. D-Day wasn't a nice sunny time. It was actually very horrendous weather. It was chucking it down all day. In fact, chucking it down for about 2 or 3 weeks prior to D-Day, and a couple of weeks after. It was not very nice weather at all. It was very wet, very windy, very muddy in places, which is why I weathered mine as a very dark orange mud. Because believe it or not, that's what it's like in northern France. I seed it with my own eyes on more than one occasion. So I'm going to do some weathering on that later on, and that's going to be our money saving tip. And who's just arrived? Jeff's arrived. Hello Jeff, can I go from Mundo? You know, mate. And Shane Young. Hello Shane, thank you for nipping in, you too. So looking forward to learn about diorama planning today. Yeah, you're a tiny bit late, a couple of minutes late, Jeff. I've started, mate, but you'll get the grip. You'll catch up in a minute. And Andy, Shane saying, afternoon, Dave, and everybody. Hope you're all okay. I'm absolutely fine. Thank you, Shane. I've day off today. It feels like I've been at work for weeks. You know when you get the one of them weeks where you just think this is never ending. I can't wait for my day off. It was one of them weeks this week, but I'm all right now. I went out. We went into town this morning with Tommy and Jordan, my other son, that still lives at home with us. We had a bit of a lad's day out and a bit of shopping. I had to purchase a new toy, my new glue gun. I had a bit of a power surge through a extension lead, and my glue gun went pop. My kettle is dead as well now. I'll have to buy a new cheap kettle anyway as well soon. But yeah, it's been an eventful day in here actually yesterday. My air compressor got extremely hot to the extent where it stopped working, so I've gone back to another one for now, leaving that one for a couple of days to probably cool down and chill out. Right, anyway, that's what we've been up to. So we've got the frame, we've got it all nice and masked off now. What we want to do now is, I've got this habit, because I do water effects, I've got this habit of sealing my dioramas, because what will happen is I could quite happily just stick the base in now, close it up with the clips, and that's done. That's the job done. But if I start pouring resin on it at a later date, it's just going to leak out from the bottom. So I tend to get the old glue gun and seal the base in. So let's do that. Put the old glue gun in. Put that in there. Come with long sticks, this one. I've got a brand new box of wonderful posh sticks, courtesy of Scally Models. I mean, Dad. Well, thank you, Dad. It's a nice little surprise that was through the post. Big box of glue sticks. Cool, cool. So we'll give it a second to warm up, and then see everybody's in the chat. So, what's everybody up to? Anybody doing anything exciting? I know Scott has. Scott's got his YouTube channel on the go now. The Junk Works. Like and subscribe. Dad's got moderator status. I said, why is not? But you know what, Scott? I tell, why have I not done that for you? Where's he at? There we go. There you go, Scott. You're a mod now. You can pimp your channel now, mate. Pimp your channel in the chat, mate. Not there's many people watching, but it's on my it'll be on my YouTube, won't it? Archived. Pimp yourself away, mate. Right. Not really warm enough yet. Let's better start the element now. Nope, not warm enough yet. Yeah, Scott's got a spanner. So just link your channel in there, mate. Just have a check out Scott's work. Amazing, amazing. My weathering is pathetic when you compare it to Scott's. Absolutely pathetic. Mine's still a feeble attempt at sticking mud on stuff. Scott is the master when it comes to weathering, I'm afraid. So if you want to learn how to do this next bit we're going to do in a bit properly, go and check out Scott, the Junk Works, on his YouTubing channel with his Postman Patsky Russian post office van. It's brilliant. Postman Patsky. Is that ready yet? Is that warm enough yet? Yeah. Right, so very quickly. A quick bead down here. And stick the board in. Close it all down. There we go. Bead through there a little bit. Okay, and that'll give us something to cut to. So we'll leave that on for a minute. We're going to leave that in a second. So the board's on. The next thing I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to raise the surface up because I've got to construct a ditch. All right. So what I'm going to do, only on the masking tape anyway, I'm going to mark off where we want our BOCAGE and raised bits to be on there. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to get a piece of XPS foam, and that's it. And here's one I prepared earlier. So there was a bit of blue peter in Dad. Right, that needs. I'll give it a little trim. Give him a little trim down. Just a bit of a shaving off. Same with this, it's just a tiny fraction off. Just to work with. That should. Like that for a minute. That should be going to look a bit beautifully inside here now. Right then. I'm going to fix it. Now we could use PVA glue. Put on here and stick this on it. The only thing is, PVA glue, people don't think about it. PVA glue works on evaporation. So the air's got to get to it to evaporate the water off it to make the glue activate. So it works. But if you put it on that, then there's not a lot of air going to get to it. And it will take weeks and weeks to dry. You'll be surprised. I've done dioramas and I've stripped them a year later, lifted up the thing, and there's a blob of PVA glue in the middle that's still wet because it's just never had the air to it to activate it. So I'm just going to use hot glue on this bit. Now you've got to be careful with hot glue and XPF foam. You don't want it too hot because it will quite happily melt it. Because obviously it's foam and it's hot. Hence the name hot glue. But the beauty of hot glue is it takes seconds to dry, which is what we like. Right. So we know now. Well, I'll turn this off a little bit. I don't need it for 5 minutes or so. So we'll undo him. Put him there to cool off. So we've now got what I would call our foundation. So we can start then building on it. Right, so we decided this corner. Yes, yeah, we did. We decided this corner we're going to work on, didn't we? And then this area, and this area. So we had this vehicle here, this, and then this one here, and we had fella me laddie stood here talking to the driver this one. So that's the, and then everything's going to be dump and dump. Okay, so it still fits. Everything looks like it's going to work, he says. Hopefully, fingers crossed. It should do. In theory, that should be okay. Right, so let's move that off again. So, what we'll do, there's something stuck under the foam, Dave. Yeah, it was a piece of, it was glue, it was green paint, Scott. It wasn't actually stuck on it, it was green paint. From when I had the accident, when I dropped a pot of Imperial Japanese Navy green, it went everywhere, including down the bin. Dad's got his murder bin where he spilled his red X7 and went over the bin. Mine's got Imperial Japanese green, Imperial Japanese Navy green, splattered all down it. So although Dad looks like he's murdered somebody in his bed, his man cave, it looks like I've murdered the Hulk in here. But never mind. Right then, so how we're going to do our earthen bank. Oh, plug the glue gun back in again. You can't be bothered with PVA and weeks of drying times. So plug that back in again. So I'm just going to use some of this. So let's get one. Go up there to there. We want our ditch. So let's just mark it off. There and there. There and there. Don't worry about the back bit because that will be the next field. And then we'll get You could do this with a knife quite easily. It'd probably be neater with a knife, but I'm just going to get the wire foam cutter in here. Get off. Do that. Ping that through there like that. And that should sit about there. And then what we'll do is we'll build it up and then shape it from there. So, no, not long enough. Another length. About there. There and there. It has to be rough because we're going to coat this in a bit. Ping that off there. Ping that off there. No, not quite. Do the same again. No, not there. Not there. Right, that should give us, scale wise, that should give us, by the time we've coated it, a banking that's going to be 4. Okay, not quite tall enough yet. So let's add that and that. Warm up. Now this is being temperamental now. One of them weeks where everything I touch has gone all temperamental on me for some bizarre reason. Right, so is that going to be about 5 foot when it's yeah. I'm putting the figure next to it. That would make us a banking that's about 5 foot tall, which is about right. And then obviously on top of that we're going to have 10 or 15 foot of hedges and trees. That should, height wise, be about spot on. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to use our glue gun again. And I'm literally just going to stick these together in the middle. I'm not going to stick it to dia yet because we're going to start shaping this in a minute. I think there might be a bit too hot on the glue as well. The stick. Right. Stick another stick in there. On that end. That's the wrong way around your dope. That way. What a fool. That way and that on there. Which way is that going that way? It's the wrong bit. What a nightmare. We've gone wrong. There we go. Right, so we'll leave that for a sec. We'll turn the glue gun off because it's got a bit hot again for XPS foam. So what we'll do is we'll then get, that's nice and solid. You could do this with a knife, I just find this a lot easier with One of these things. We'll add some sort of shape to it. A bit of an angle. I'm just going to carve into it, basically. A couple of bits and pieces, just to get rid of the, you know, the 90 degrees and the bends and the straight bits. And because nature's not like that. Nature doesn't do straight lines. It's one of the things you learn in the military when you're doing camouflage and concealment courses and marksmanship courses and things like that. You're trained to look for straight edges. Because nature doesn't do straight edges. This should give us the right sort of shape we want. We're applying that'll do it. So, although this has been turned off, it should still be the loosey glue and hot and still workable. I'll stick that down there. I'll stick that down. So that to me bench like an Egypt. Right, so let's leave that there for a second, and then we'll work on these two little bits here. And all the small bits, it's going to still give us the illusion that this is a pathway, a path through between hedgerows. That's the plan. Hopefully that's what it's going to look like. Now, we don't have to do too fancy because, like I said, we're going to coat this in a minute or later on. A bit. I'll have to invest in a new one. All my batteries might be going. Could be the batteries going in. This one's better. I seem to want to cut for a second. So we're back on target, so all right. What's this? Oh no, Chris. Chris is in. Hello, Christopher. Right, so we'll mark off where we want to trim this to. And there. Bink. I'll go there. Maybe that'll sit on top of it. Like that idea. Oh dear, the baby's crying. Next door's grandson. He's about a week old now, bless him. He's a cute little thing. But he's got a good old set of lungs on him. He's got a heck of a set of lungs. Right, we'll do this side. Well, it doesn't have to be the same height because they weren't always regular. Trim that there. Down there, and a couple of little bits on top of that, and that should give us our basic framework to work off. VR. Do you know, I've never done VR, but I think I'd be the same as I think I'd be a bit woozy and throwing up myself actually with VR, especially with my tinnitus and my balance problem at the moment. I'm in nerves. Put that off there. Give it a bit more height on this bit. The more filling you do, the less other materials you have to use. Right. So what we'll do now is we'll just make sure everything still fits. Get that bit of stringy. That's going to go there. It's going to go there. And there. Yeah, everything will still fit wonderfully nicely inside where we want everything else to be. So we can go there like that. Right. Yeah, I think I'm about right with that. I'm happy with that, positioning wise. By the time we get it plastered up, it shouldn't be too bad. So let's have a bit of a tidy up while you lot look at chat and see who's doing what. What's the next? Oh, Chrissy's VR. What's the next VR series, Christopher? What are you going to be doing, mate? What is Christopher's VR in next? Honestly, I don't think I could do it. Motion sickness stands still for me. I get seasick on the train. Oh, weird all that. Oh, let's have a quick swig. Off my Lucozade. Wild cherry. Quite nice. Powered by glucose. Oh, it's better. It's very warm here today. I've been on the third floor. It's extremely hot in this man cave. It's not very comfy at all in the summer, I've discovered. Oh, it's very warm. Right. So that's there. That over there for now. Right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to get messy. Let's get messy. Because once we've done this bit, we'll have to put this to one side next. This next bit. Oh, we haven't done the ditch, have we? Duh. So, how are we going to incorporate a ditch? Well, I'm going to cheat. Well, actually, is it cheating? Is it cheating? I don't know. It's definitely one for the kids. Don't let your children do this. Right, oh, one. Oh, one of them. One of them is a tea light. Let's get a tea light. We're going to burn it with fire. So, a tea light. Now, I've got somewhere, where have I put him? My favourite universal tool that I use for doing all sorts of pretty much everything with. There he is. My much used and abused diamond foil. And we're just going to warm him up on the tea tree light. Just warm him up. And we're going to try and sculpt and burn in the ditches in the foam. So please, if you're a small child, don't try this at home. No, it's not impossible, Andy. You just got to think in 3 dimensions, mate. That's all. Get nice. Oh, is it hot enough yet? Not quite. I mean, we could do it with a naked flame and just run it down it, but you run the risk of going too far. doing it that way. They weren't big ditches, they were just very small. Just for rain runoff more than anything else in the past. That's that side done. Make it a bit deeper. A bit of depth in places. You can actually hear that working. So warmer again. It doesn't stay warm hot enough very long. You haven't got a lot of time to work, but then you don't want it excessively hot because it'll be too quick. You won't be able to control how much foam you were heating away, burning away. There you go. That's that side really done, right? Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. And then the last two little edges, we'll do the same. Be silly not to have a ditch on both sides, won't it? You defeat the object a little bit. And then when we put the plaster on in a minute, we'll make sure we've got an actual camber. A camber. Warm it up again for this side. So what have we got? What have we got? What have we got? So is Chris actually not? He's not going to tell us, is he, what his next VR adventure is going to be? Well, it looks messy at the moment. Well, it's slightly burnt on that, but when we get some plaster in there and a ground cover, you won't even notice that. It'll be painted over and covered over, and so let's sculpt in this side one. It does. Right, and we'll put that in the water just to cool down for a sec. Pull that out and put that somewhere safe. Oh, there we go. So I've actually managed to get ditches in there that look very black and dirty and actually quite hard now. But once we get some plaster down on there, it's all covered up. It won't be so bad. So anyway, let's have a look at chat for a little bit. I can't believe I've had no stick whatsoever off Dad and Scott yet. Something's not right somewhere. I think something's wrong. Unless Dad's still on the phone. That's what it is. That's what it is. Dad's still on the phone. So it is coming though. I bet it's coming. It'll be coming. The stick will follow. Right. So let's get What's in the chat? There's nothing really going on in the chat. Come on, Christopher. What is the next VR series? You're not telling us, are you? Dad's saying he had a long phone call. Shane, I have Chaos Black down the front of our washing machine and my spray brew in the kitchen and missed the model. Luckily, given this, it can't get in there. Yeah, luckily, mate. It does come off. It does, honestly. Isopropyl alcohol and some elbow grease I get off that, mate. That will get it off there, mate, Shane, honestly, mate. Isopropyl alcohol, some elbow grease, and it'll come off. That's like what I wasn't aware the handle work was like this. Was it really? Yeah, these, Jeff, are eBay specials, and they are extremely cheap. And they use two of the big. I can't remember what the name of the batteries are now. What size they are? The big chunky round ones. They are. I haven't got my glasses on. I took my glasses off. Oh, my glasses. Oh, yeah. You'll pick these up off eBay, Jeff, for about $5, mate. They are dirt cheap. And they use LR14 1.5 volt batteries. Them chunky round ones. And the batteries last forever and a day. Get in that. And literally, Jeff, they're about $5 in the States. And they're so easy to use. My only criticism with them is this isn't big enough. You can get some really big. There's one that looks like a crescent shape, a half moon shape. It's quite big. It's got a big open area inside. Because I find with this sometimes it's just not enough workspace when you want to twist and get in and rotate, move it around things. I just find it's a little bit too short. But I mean, it's like anything. There's I mean, Proxon and companies like that make some really high-end ones that are, you know, not overly expensive, but the dirt cheap ones like that are fantastic. Ever so easy to get hold of on eBay, mate. Are you putting pigeons in the diorama, Dave? Well, it will be a shame not to, wouldn't it? As I've got some pigeons that I've got to use on some. I might pretend the wood pigeons and stick them in the bushes. You know, one or two pigeons that might not go on miss on it, I think. Apart from that, his dad's still in this conversation on telephone, is he? Chris hasn't told us what his next VR work is. Next VR jolly into the fascinating world of virtual reality. In fact, is Chris still there or has he gone back to work? He's probably gone back to work, but you never know. I suppose that's the beauty of being your own boss, isn't it? You can work when you want, really. Within I mean, you've got obviously got to work, but I suppose he can set his own hours really. So I'm going to have an hour and a half on this today, whereas I've got my rigid hour and that's it, you know. I might just treat myself and have 2 hours. One of that at McDonald's or KFC. And we know what you do, Chris. We know what you do, really, mate. Little tinker. You got about $5 fee, Jeff. They're not expensive, mate. They're not expensive at all, and they're good little workhorses. I've had that for about 2 years now, and I'm not going to say it. Actually, I will say it. I haven't had to replace the wire yet. Touch wood. I've done nothing to it apart from replace the batteries once. But they do last a long, long time. The batteries, I must admit. It's not an everyday tool, but for $5, it's a nice one to have in your armoury. You know. But the day you occasionally want it to get comfy, the day you want to use it. Right, that should now have cooled down. So, what do I want next? I want to glove up. I'm not getting myself covered in wall filler plaster today. I don't fancy it today. So we'll glove up and get yourself nice and clean. I don't think, off the top of my head, I don't think there's anything nasty in all-purpose wall filler. But I suppose they said that in the 60s when they were building things out of asbestos. So I'll put gloves on anyway, just to be on the safe side. Right, which is me. That's me opened one. I've got 2 pots down there. I've got a new one as well. And what we'll do is we'll do a TED, and we'll literally start slapping it on. Yep. Right then. Now, there are other substances you can use. There's so I haven't used it yet. I'm going to have to get myself some. Especially in the States, Jeff, you'll be able to get it dead easy. Stuff called sculptor mold. And it's basically plaster of Paris with shredded paper in it. And you just add water to it. And it dries in about 30 minutes. And it's supposed to be incredibly good stuff. So I'm going to have to invest in something like myself and give that a go. Sculptor mold. I'll have to try that. Right, let's get this spread around. Now, what I want to try and do is not there for a minute. What I want to try and do is do that. This is a mud path, by the way. It's not a paved. It's just a dirt track between fields. I'll spread this out. Come on, spread out. It's messy stuff, this. Messy stuff. It's good. It's good because it's messy. Get some in the ditch. That's nice. I like that. To the edge. Which is fine, we don't have to worry about it because we've got it all nice and mashed off. Spread it about. You don't have to be too fancy at the moment. This stuff takes hours and hours and hours and hours and hours to dry. So there's no rush. You can just have fun with it. And basically all I'm doing at the moment is getting it down. And then we'll start messing about with sculpting it and making it look pretty. And so that's about there and there. I'm going to start working on my slapping it on the bankings. Slap it on, Ted. Look how messy this is. Hey, I'll tell you something, Ted. This is so messy. I knew a girl more come on this. She'd love doing this. Let's just get it all sculpted up. In the back here. Right, and then we'll flick that back on there. Up to the edge. We'll worry about making it flatten it out in a minute. Right, this is the tricky bit, getting it to stick on it. It's a bit like icing a cake, really. The icing just doesn't want to stick properly to start with. Once you press in there, it will do as it's told in the end. It's messy though. It's good fun. If you like, once in a while, it does your heart good to just get in there, get messy, and like it was when we were kids making mud pies and stuff like we used to do when we were little. Because that's all we had for entertainment in our day. Not like the kids of the day with tablets and laptops and phones and like our playing out with mud pies and eating worms. Kids today don't know they're born. I've made a thoroughly messy mess of myself. Get in there. Down there. Make sure it's out of the ditch. Otherwise we won't have a ditch. Get in there. Better. There's that ditch out. The back edge of that ditch out. Right then. Let's get them off now. Throw them in the bin. Now what I'm going to use a little bit. Get it wet. Dirty water. Start to smooth it out a little bit. Trying to get a bit of a camber in it. There we go. Now it's taking shape. Getting that squidgy in. I have somewhere, I have some flexible sculpting tools. But enough in life for me, ever since I moved into the man cave, I can't remember what I've done with them. They're probably still in the old modelling area, one of the drawers that are still containing stuff. Especially the other stash. She farts in bed found the other week when she was remodelling the bedroom. What's all this lot? I've done for years. What are you on about? I have actually. I've had it for a long time. Clear that out. Make sure that's out and that's out. Right, so for plaster work, for groundwork, I reckon, because we are going to paint this, we are going to coat this in other stuff. We're going to be using gravel, and we're going to be using flock and other such wonderful items on this. All we wanted to do was get the basic soil work down, really, rock work. I reckon that's about done that. So there's our cake. That's about as far as we can get. Throw that away now, that one's empty. Today, that's really about as far as we can get with that, because now we're stuck on drying times. And obviously, because of the nature of it, I couldn't sort of like do one last few days and magically do a blue Peter and say, here's one I prepared earlier, because I just couldn't do that. So that's that bit done until next week. And what we'll do next week, that'll be all dry. We'll give it a bit of a sand, we'll smooth things off, we'll make things look a bit prettier, and then we'll get on to, I might actually paint it during the week, because then it's, paint it brown during the week, and then we can get on with flocking, we can get on with making trees, and actually making a hedge, which isn't as easy as it sounds. You make an edge, so we'll leave that to dry for a couple of days, and then during the week I'll just get on one evening and give that a slight sanding and a bit of a paint job. Right, what else was I going to do? I was going to do some weathering. Yes, yeah, Jeff, sculptor mold. It's very, very popular in the States. It's not easy. You can get over it over here in the UK, but it is an American-based product, and you'll have a lot easier job finding it than I can over here, mate. Right then, so I was going to do some weathering on that, and I promised you. Let me just have a drink of this. It's so hot in here. I promised you another money-saving tip. Ah, right. It's so hot in here. I need a drink. So, what have I done on this? I've used weathering powder. Or have I? I haven't, you know. Now, Scott's in chat. Scott will tell you. Companies like AK Interactive and Vallejo make weathering powders. And they're very good. They're amazing. They're fantastic. They're purpose-built weathering powders. But did you know what they actually are? It's just chalk. It's 90% of it is just pure chalk. So, not like the chalk you use on a blackboard. It's slightly different than that. It's a pastel chalk. So, how to save yourself a lot of money. Now, they're about, in the UK, they're about £4 a pot-ish, roughly. You don't get a lot in a pot. They're not very big pots. They're about the size of a Games Workshop pot. They're not huge. About the size, you know, the same size as a Tamiya. But you're getting about that amount of powder, which is a lot. It goes a long way. This here is chalk pastels. Now it's the chalk ones. It's not the oil-based soft pastels. You have to get the hard chalk pastels. All right. All you're going to do, you can, if you want to make up a batch of it, what you can do is you can get yourself a Ziploc sandwich bag, put your stick of chosen colour in it, seal up the Ziploc bag bit, and then beat the living bejesus out of it with a rolling pin and turn it all into powder, and then tip it into a little jug. And then you've got a pot of, and the beauty of this is you can mix colours to make whatever colour weathering powder you want. Now I've got to now try and match up that colour for that, because at the end of the day they're in the same part of France. They're going to have the same colour mud all over them. So that's the only problem with doing it. What I've done here is I forgot to make up a big enough batch to do both. So I'm going to have to try and remember. And it's simple enough. Oh, look at, there's a little tiny spider. Come on, mate. There's a little spider in my weathering powder, a little jumping spider. Come on then, mate, get on here. I'm trying to save your life, you stupid spider. He's not having none of it. Well, you can stay in there then. If you want to stay in there, you can stay in there. It's a little jumping spider who's now rusty, earthy, muddy coloured now, where he's been rolling around in weathering powder. Must be something you enjoy doing. Right, so what are you going to do? I'm not going to stick it in a Ziploc bag and beat the living bejesus out of it because it's far too noisy. I'm just going to get a stick and I'm going to get my X-Acto knife and literally shave it into the pot. Don't put any pressure on it, just the weight of the knife. Shave it into the pot. So we'll have some of that. I definitely used, I remember I used some of that. use some of that. And I use some of that orange. Not a huge amount of the orange. Right, and I'm just going to get one of these. This is a makeup applicator. That's all it is. You can buy a pack of 50 for £1 or $1 in Dollarama, or £1 in the Poundland. I'll just mix it. Spider, you stay over there. Go on, get over that side, and I'll mix this side. Then you ain't going to get hurt, you silly animal. Mix him up, mix him up, mix him up. And that looks to me to be about right. And don't forget, in real life, you will get slight variations between, 2 or 3 miles. You'd have a slightly darker mud on one part, and then 2 or 3 miles away it'd be slightly lighter, or slightly pinker, or slightly, depending on. He's quite happy in his pot, isn't he? Bless him, silly little thing. Right, let's do that there. And then I use, as a setting agent, hairspray. Now, a lot of people say, and you leave it a lot in your life, oh, you get what you pay for. So if you was to buy a nice sofa and spend £5,000 or £6,000 or $7,000 or $8,000 on a beautiful leather sofa, it would last you for years. It will look gorgeous for years. Or you can go to your local cheapie, like we have lots and lots of, discount furniture stores that seem to always have a sale on. And you'll pick up a £200 sofa. They'll both do the same job. You can sit on them and you can watch your telly, but one will be a lot comfier and last a lot longer than the other one. You get what you pay for. Not when it comes to this stuff. The cheaper you can get it, the better it is. It's basically a glue. It's a spray adhesive. All right, with a lacquer. It's very flammable, so don't have a fag while you're doing it. But when it comes to hairspray, for using as a fixative and for using for chipping techniques, the cheaper the better. All right, trust me on this. The cheaper the better. So there's 2 or 3 ways of doing it. I generally just put my powder on where I want it and then give it a quick from a distance. Or what you can do, if you want to get it heavier, you can decant it and then brush it on. Or you can just spray it on. If you're doing a larger area, spray it on and then like this. I'll show you. What I tend to do is under my bench, and I'm not going to spray myself in the eye. I'll give it a good soaking. Now you got to be quick because it doesn't last forever. It evaporates quite quickly, this stuff. And I would literally, oh, get out, go that way, you silly creature. And end up a permanent fixture in this universal carrier. Sprinkle it on. Scott's going mad now. Ah, do it that way. Do it that way. Not do it that way, you bloody cowboy. There are different ways of doing it. But Scott is, when it comes to weathering, Scott is the master of the weatherings. So if you want to see good weathering, go and check out his channel, The Jump Works. I don't know, he does it. It's some sort of dark magic techniques he uses. Weird. It's weird. Viking technique. Now we've got lots of mud in there. I'll give it another glass so it's got damp on one side and damp on the other side now. See how simple that was, how easy that was to cover that in mud. And we'll do the other side. Because obviously it's going to get muddy on both sides. Right, you're coming out of there in a minute, mate, I tell you. I really don't want to. I like spiders. I used to keep tarantulas at one point, and then we had a bit of an argument with Portsmouth City Council, one of my landlords. And just to keep the peace, I said, "Oh, I will get rid of them. I had spiders, snakes, lizards." I was part of a society that rescues and rehomes reptiles and amphibians and that. But the local authority didn't like the fact we was doing it in one of their properties, even though I had one of the old rent agreements that only said we weren't allowed to keep domesticated animals. So I couldn't keep a pig or a sheep or a goat. But it said nothing about exotics. Oh, there he is. I've rescued him. Oh, now he's on the bench. Go on, shoot. Go on, Scarper. Yeah, it said nothing about exotic animals. Only I couldn't keep a horse or a sheep or a pig or a goat. But now they've changed it now. So there's all new rent agreements from the last sort of like 10 or 12 years ago, this was. They all say now you're not allowed to keep exotic animals in local authority housing. Boom, there we go. That side's very muddy. I like that. Oh, Scott, I like that. That's very muddy. Right, and there we go. That is our money saving tip for the day as well. Oh, I'm just sneezing me hairspray. I'm just hairspray. I don't normally do hairspray. Not having hair tends to not be on my agenda of things every morning. My girls do, my teenage daughters seem to thrive on hairspray and makeup for some bizarre reason. Well then, that's it. So get yourself some. Oh blimey, I'm destroying the place now. Never mind. So get yourself some of these chalk pastels. Make sure that the chalk ones are not the soft oil-based ones, because that's not going to do you any good whatsoever. That stuff not going to work. For a couple of £1 in the UK, a couple of dollars in the States, that's all they are. They're not expensive at all. They're very, very cheap, and they will last you for a very, very long time and save you a fortune. So anyway, let's have a quick look at chat. Yeah, Scott's left eye is twitching. Well, once you get some more videos up on the junk work, Scott, about weathering and that, you can teach me how to weather properly and be a better weatherer. There you go. You say. Oh God. Yeah, that's why I used to keep my mouth under control. No, I actually use gel on me head. So there we go. Actually, do you know, Scott, that's not bad, you know. Actually, I wanted it heavily muddied. That's pretty heavily muddied, mate. I know it's not up to your standard, but for me, and don't forget, it's going on a diorama that's going to be very, very. You're only going to see from certain angles. You know, you'll have to like, oh, cool, and then you look at that from a different angle. Oh, yeah. That's the plan, see. But anyway, that's it for the day. Let's have a look. Shall we do quickly? I mean, we did this the other night, but we'll do through it again. We'll go through it again. This is the Model Makers Times. So we'll have a look. See what's on. So it's Thursday evening. This evening's Christopher. Christopher, are you on at 8 o'clock this evening, are you, sir? Is it Chris? 8? Are you on, Chris? Come on, Chris. We don't know. Chris, anyway, at the moment, as far as we're aware, it's Chris with the evening off at 8 o'clock. And then Friday is Fox with Fallout Friday, where he's playing Fallout. Spookily enough, he's playing Fallout 4, which is one of my favourite games. And then Friday evening at 8 PM, it's Natalie with a Dexterous Crafter. And then on Saturday, it's going to be a busy weekend again. Saturday at 3 o'clock is Fox with his Skyrim Saturday, where he plays another Bethesda game, Skyrim. And then Saturday evening, it's the Crash with James and Carl and Steve and Lewis. And then on Sunday at 12 o'clock till 2:30 is Colin and Dave with their Sunday Brunch show, which is a cracking show. Go and watch that lot of. It's good laugh. Good laugh. I never get a chance to watch it live because three out of 4 weekends I work on a Sunday. It's great, and then Sunday I am off. She farts in bed, wants me to do stuff. So I've never actually managed to catch it live. I've only really managed to watch it on catch up. But it's a fantastic show, well worth watching. And that is, 12 till 2:30. And then at 3 o'clock, Fox is on with his Warhammer Sunday. And then at 6:15, it's Dad with the in-between show in shows. In-between shows. That one at 6:15. And then Chris and Ted, whichever one it is, because I never remember, even though they told me yesterday, I've forgotten again. It's Chris and Ted together, isn't it? Yeah, Chris and Ted together on Sunday night at 8. And then Monday at 3 o'clock on Monday afternoon is Lewis with his Lancaster build, where he does this very, very posh, very, very expensive Lancaster model kit. That's beautiful. He's on photo etching the cockpit and all that in it at the moment. It does look nice. It looks a fantastic kit. Expensive, but fantastic. And then at 9 o'clock is E-Models on Monday night. And then Tuesday, it's Phil, Primetime Modelling, with 2 idiots that just join him occasionally. You know what I mean? There's 2 just weirdos just to help him out. But that'll be me and Dad. And that's 8 o'clock on Tuesday. And that's it. That's the full what's on for your next 6 or 7 days. And that's it. That's it. Right, I'm going to go now. I'm going to have something to eat. I'm actually getting hungry now. I might go and have something to eat. A burger and chips or something. I don't know. But anyway, thanks all for coming. Thanks for watching. Always a pleasure to have you all on. And I hope you've learned something. Or if not, at least you might have learned a little money saving technique. I'll have to think of another one for next week now. God knows what I'm going to do. Anyway, next week what we'll do is we'll get on with that diorama, where we'll start sticking some paint down and some flock definitely, and trees. Oh, more trees, not more trees, and how we would make a hedge, a bush. So thanks for coming in. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. Wash your hands and keep the change, you filthy animals. And we'll see you next week. How do I turn this thing off again? Oh, there it is. Right. Bye.